are so funny. You're trying to get me to do this stupid shit. And
she just whispered, "I'm a bad bitch," for anyone who didn't hear. Stop. 420.
I'm lit at Disney.
And the kids asleep in the bath.
There we go. A ball sack station. That's what a business owner looks like. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I didn't realize. You start. You start.
I was going to start because you had to do the clap.
You start.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tattoo Homewreckers. I forgot what we were called there for a second. My name is Lou, and I am here with my very best friend, Callista. We're a podcast that talks about tattoos, life, and everything in between. Mm-hmm. Today, we're going to talk about everything in between because I want to talk about female rage.
Chariot. I can't wait.
And if you watch on YouTube, you'll see our lighting is slightly different because it is hot. And our home does not have AC. Mm-hmm. That's super normal if you live down under. If you were in the States, you were like, oh, well, it can't be that hot. I think, I changed my
temperature thing?
Yeah, my temperature. But it is 29 degrees. So whatever the fuck that is in American numbers.
Yeah.
So it's hot. So the windows are open. Occasionally you are going to see me swing a fly swatter.
Yep.
Or if you're only listening to this, you're going to hear me swing a fly swatter and say, oh, fuck.
Hey, man, we've talked about how Animal Crossing is very much, must be based off Animal Crossing New Horizons. Gotta be based off of fucking New Zealand because there are bugs everywhere. Mm-hmm. I was making my bed and there was just a daddy longlegs in my bed.
Oh, you had a sleepover.
And then I was like, please don't go in my bed. And then he went under the sheets. I said, that's exactly what I said not to do. So
he said, he has defiance disorder. He said, don't tell me what to do.
I know. I'm like, please stop. I don't want to kill you. You just need to move.
He's like, absolutely not. And then also, if you are watching, you will see that my arm is in a brace. Did not fully sever, thankfully, but I severely damaged a tendon in my hand. So I am in a brace for allegedly 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. We'll see how long. So,
we'll see. Hopefully sooner. Hopefully it's a speedy recovery. Mm-hmm. If you notice I'm a little short today, it's because I'm just stressed, Diva. It's been a stressful month for me. What?
I thought you meant height-wise. I was like, I don't think you look shorter than usual. I think you look like the
normal
same height.
No, if I just have short responses. So.
Yeah, do you want to talk about stress?
Yeah, let's talk about stress really quickly before we get into what our genders feel like. Boy, is living in a different country stressful. Mm-hmm. Visa stuff is stressful. Mm-hmm. Regular living is stressful. Getting used to cultural differences is stressful. You know what else is stressful? I was about to bring up another point. Oh, watching the world burn is very stressful.
Yes.
That has been hard. And it's been taking a toll on me mentally and emotionally. And that's all I wanted to say about that. I'm just stressed. And I'm sure all of you guys are too. If you're listening to this from the United States, I'm thinking about you. Love you bunches. And just sending as much love as I possibly can. I know things are hard right now. Yeah. And then also, fuck ICE. That's all I wanted to say.
And fuck Donald Trump.
Yep.
And his entire administration.
Yeah.
I would say let's start with genders. So I feel like a broken toothpick, but like one of those cute festive toothpicks that has like the little I don't know, it's like a weird little plastic streamer on the end.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, like the ones that are like the festive fancy ones.
I love those. They're like always the shitty, it's either like a really dark blue plastic or
like red. Yeah, but it's red, like a reddy pink color. Yeah.
It's not like a pretty pink.
That's what I feel like. So I am still festive. I am just a little bit broken. Yeah. So, but I'm still doing the damn thing.
You're kicking, bro.
Yeah.
You're fucking swinging.
And I'm not fully broken in half. I'm just like,
yeah, you're still a diva.
Yeah, I'm just a crooked diva in your cheese.
Crooked diva, she's still doing the work.
Exactly.
I love that description. I feel like a used tissue. Yeah, not like a weird cum tissue.
Okay, that was going to be my next question.
Like a snot tissue.
Oh, nice.
Where I'm like a little sticky, but like I'm still like soft on the outside, you know? I'm not like completely fucked.
I don't know if I would rather be a cum tissue or a snot tissue.
I'd rather be a snot tissue for show.
I think I'd rather be a cum tissue.
Really?
Yeah, because at least then, I guess you feel better after you've, blown your nose. But yeah, I feel like at least then there was like, before I came along, there was some joy.
Yeah.
Or at least some desperation. And that's also very me-coded.
Hey, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, I suppose.
Yeah, I think I'm more of a cum tissue person.
Leave it in the comments, you guys. Are you more of a snot tissue or a cum tissue?
Perfect. So I want to talk about a movie we watched last night that was called Die, My Love. And it is Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson. Yep. And we're not going to go into, like, if I'm being completely honest, there aren't necessarily spoilers in it. It is just about their relationship, and more so Jennifer Lawrence, like, has, gets married, has a baby, and what happens, like, within the female brain after, like, having a child, but also just, like, being in a relationship.
Yes. Oh my God. When your relationship gets monotonous, you're doing the same thing over and over again, and there's no, like, joy or play or excitement or connection. Yes. Oh my gosh. And, like, how insane you feel in your own head when, like, you get to that point where it's like, what are we doing? Yeah. What are we doing? Because it's such a beautiful movie. Jennifer Lawrence, she, like, has perfected her little, like, cat prowl. She's, very animalistic. On all fours. Yeah, animalistic. And to me, I kind of interpreted it as, like, she was this wild animal and still is. And her husband was able to, like, be in connection with her and, like, I shouldn't say, like, capture her, but, like, essentially, yes, like, she's been captured into this marriage, right? Where now it's like you forgot this powerful, like, creature that you have with you. And he goes and, like, fucks around, whatever, and she's just, like, not getting laid anymore. Yeah. And they used to have, like, wild, like, literal animalistic sex, and she's not getting laid anymore, and she's just at home, bored out of her mind, taking care of the baby. Kid. And, like, she doesn't have any more creativity in her brain anymore to write. Yep. And, like, it was such a wonderful movie on female rage. And, like, the craziness that happens. For me, I really felt like I had never seen this movie before, but it was a story I knew all too often. Yeah. Talking to so many of the, like, female clients I have that are in long-term, typically like, heterosexual relationships or in relationships where that dynamic is prevalent. Yep. So where you have the, like, manager-employee dynamic in relationships, which does tend to happen more in heterosexual relationships because of the, like, patriarchal structure of marriage, that you have, like, a default partner and a default parent specifically, which is typically going to be the mother. And, like, that loss of identity and that, again, that feeling trapped. And so even though, like, I'd never seen this movie or necessarily a movie just like it, I, like, felt like I knew this story in my soul. And there were so many points where, like, the acting is phenomenal and the, like, story writing is amazing because you too feel like you're going crazy along with her. Oh my God. Like, not even the overt gaslighting where he's like, oh no, you recognize that box of condoms that's in the glove box. That was, like, both of ours. Like, that's ours. Yeah, it's an old pack of condoms. Yeah, but as he continues getting new boxes. Yes, and they, like, highlight the new boxes, but instead in the, like, really subtle ways in which relationships can gaslight women into believing that, like, you should be wholly fulfilled. But yes. Yeah. Oh my God, that was such a prevalent theme of the movie was the idea of, like, part of the crazy making that happens is when women are put into this, like, role of, like, okay, so you and I as a partnership are not doing anything to connect anymore. I'm trying to connect to you. Yes. And you're too tired. You're too this, you're too that. You're not putting any effort to make sure you connect with me. We're not playing together anymore. We're not having experiences and, like, making memories together anymore. We're coasting. Yes. And, like, what happens in that scenario, the reason why so many women are driven crazy is because all of society is trying to convince you that, like, what do you mean this is the life that you should aspire to live? This life of not having sex with your partner anymore. Not even kissing them anymore. Well, I don't think they tell you that's the life. Well, it's the fantasy. That's true. Yeah, the fantasy, right? The fantasy is you get married, you have a kid, and that's your
your whole
like, why aren't you happy that, like,
why aren't you happy?
Yeah.
And then you're faced with the reality, which
is like, my partner, like, isn't fostering any connection with me anymore. And, like, I'm expected to just, like, what? Like, she's like, there's a scene in the movie where she is bored out of her fucking mind. And, like, it was props to, like, the director and, like, the writers for really capturing the essence of, like, what it's like to be so bored it's painful.
Yes.
And, like, I feel like every single experience in that movie, like, we felt. You know, we, like, truly went through all of it together with her. And, like, again, how crazy it is that the rest of society expects you to be happy with that. They expect you to be content, but she's a wild animal, you know? Like, she's literally, like, a big cat where, like, she is driven to, like, such, like, lengths of, like, just feeling these big emotions that she's, like, clawing the walls at one point in the movie. And it's like, damn, like, at this point of, like, watching, no one can, like, really blame her. At least me as a viewer, I could not blame her.
No. Yeah.
Like, you're, you know, you the reason why your husband was attracted to you was because you were wild. And then now it's like he's expecting you to be tame and be a housewife and not get any pleasure. And he's expecting you to be so happy about it, you know? It's like, damn, dude, like, that is, like, unfortunately the female experience for a lot of women in heterosexual relationships. And, like, it's so sad to, like, see, but also so powerful to see that in cinema.
Yes.
You know, I think it's great to, like, have it be exposed and, like, have it be put out into art. And this is what I mean, like, art will save the world kind of thing. Like, to have that direct translation into a movie, it's crazy. Really good stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That you, like, as you're watching it, again, like, I've been in my relationship for coming up on 19 years. And the, like, rage and frustration of all these, like, seasons of your life and the lack of, like, connection that happens in relationships. And, you know, we didn't have kids. So I don't even have that, like, added pressure of, like, my body became someone else's. Like, your body is just there for the baby, and like, you lose yourself. And it, like, to a certain degree, that is survival of the species. So you do have to make that sacrifice. Yeah. But that sacrifice does not have to be made wholly by yourself.
Fuck no.
And I think that's that, like, the underlying thing was that, like, she had completely lost herself. And the movie did a great job of highlighting that he was still able to, like, at one point he's, like, staring at the stars. And so he is still able to have hobbies, and he's, like, drinking alcohol and, like, going and doing all these things that she is not able to do. Yeah. And then when she does do it, like, when she has a glass of wine, you get, like, looks from other people. So you can see that, like, societal judgment. Yep. And one of the things that I really did enjoy about the film was the little conversations that happened between, like, other, like, family members and, like, other mothers and her as they're trying to connect, where she's, like, obviously struggling in this, like, first year of the baby. And another mother comes up and starts out with, like, the false niceties of, like, oh my gosh, you must be so happy, blah, blah, and then realizes that she's struggling and is like, hey, no one tells you, but you go crazy. Yeah, and like, she, like, and has
also
this, like,
tries
more real.
To validate her, right? Tries to validate her and, like, telling her, like, it's 2 is a lot, because she has 2.
Yeah, and she's very, like, nicely is like, 2 is a lot.
Like, hinting, like, don't
do it. Yeah. And that's something that I run into a lot, like, as being someone who, you know, outwardly presents as female. I run into that a lot with my clients, like, being someone who also is very outspoken of, like, oh no, I didn't want to have kids like I did when I was younger. And then I realized that it was a choice, because I grew up in a household not knowing it was a choice. Like, when you grow up in a household where all you've ever heard was, in a society really, that all you've ever heard is you are supposed to have kids. I didn't think, like, oh, there's an option, like, you can opt out of not having kids, until I got pregnant and was like, oh, I can't have this kid. And then I'm like, oh shit, you can actually choose. But, like, having being like, oh, I forgot my fucking point.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh yeah. Having that conversation with my clients, the amount of women that I meet that will tell me that, like, don't get me wrong, I love my kids, but I wouldn't do it. Like,
Yeah,
if
totally.
I could do it all over again, I don't think I would. Or I would have stopped at one.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because even, like, with, like, marriage, like, I think about that now where I look back and I'm like, I had, like, older women in my life that were like, hey, this is how you keep your independence in your marriage. Also just being like, I don't know, I don't think marriage is worth it. Like, it's not worth the price.
100%. So many women tell me, women and clients and coworkers and like just people that I knew, like, hey, take your time.
Yes.
Don't rush into it. And I used to think that it was a don't rush into it as in like, don't rush into just marrying someone that you don't truly know. Part of it is that.
Yes.
But becoming older, I've realized that a bigger part of it is enjoy your life. Like, listen, when you get married, it's not just your life anymore. So you need to enjoy your life. Like, enjoy this period of time where you're not married, you're single, you're doing you. You know, like,
well, and
crazy.
I think that even that line can get, like, minimized where it's not just your life anymore.
Yeah.
But in particular, the mental load that goes on to women, which this movie really highlighted.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, so she's trying to, like, ask for validation around being a mother, and each time she tries to ask for validation, it's just lost. And I can very much state that these first, I don't know, almost 15 years of my relationship with my husband, who throughout all of that time, I would have classified as a good man and a good husband. I'd have been like, he's a good husband. He pays bills. He's, like, nice. He's funny. He's sweet. He, like, loves me. He makes me coffee in bed every day. But if I was asking for validation, it was scant to come, or it would have to be like, I don't know, every once in a while I would get it. And so being in charge of the emotional wherewithal for yourself, but also for your partner, because women hold the mental wherewithal for men, partly because patriarchal structure teaches us to watch and observe men so that way we can physically stay safe, but also because the patriarchal structure of our society puts all of our husbands as our responsibility.
Yeah.
So if my husband goes out and looks a fucking wreck, well, that's on me. And as much as people would love to be like, oh, I don't do that. Walk into someone's house and see your first thought. Do you walk into someone's house when it's messy and you look and you're like, oh, that husband is a piece of shit. He's not helping. Or like when kids are acting insane, do you automatically think, oh, their dad must not be doing a good job? Or do you naturally think like, oh, those kids are buck wild, or those kids' clothes are dirty, or their house is dirty, or again, even with the like cheating, like in that instance, you were like, yeah, he's like going out and cheating, like whatever, like it's not a like cataclysmic thing in a relationship.
And
everything they do is minimized. So part of like being married is that like we know that men who are married live longer lives because marriage is a better deal for men. And the reason it's a better deal for men is because women come in and do the work.
Yeah, totally.
And that's that part that even like as I get older and, you know, it makes me sound like a fucking curmudgeony old lady, but I'm like, I don't know that marriage is worth it because it took me over 15 years. And it's really only been in the last couple years that like partner wise, Caboose has been like, wholly my partner, like even feels like, and I have to really sit with the fact that because of those like patriarchal values that I hold and like bullshit beliefs that I hold, that I'll be like, oh no, he does so much more than me. I'm like, he handles the dogs. He's doing like, currently he's running around for the house. And I really struggle with the fact that because we are like even now, that he is not just doing it all and I'm doing nothing. Yeah. Because that structure is so much of women do so much and men do so little that if men like pick up the slack, we're like, oh my God, that man is doing everything and I am doing nothing.
Yeah. I want to add to that because I feel like there is something there with like the modern relationship and the modern woman that is turned against us, where for me, I used to think that like, oh, well, if I did all of these things, that makes me a modern woman. I'm an independent woman.
Yes.
So if I go out and like, we'll just say, I haven't done this, but like, if I want a house, okay, I'm going to go out and get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to expect my husband to do it because I want to be a modern woman. But then it's like, what is he doing? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's like, it's so easily turned against us where it's like, well, I'm a modern woman, so I will go out and I will take care of my car.
Mm-hmm.
And I will go out and I will make sure I, refill whatever fluids that need to be refilled in it. Yada, yada, yada. And so much of that is like still flipped and turned against us because it's like, but then what are you doing in the relationship? If we're in a shared household, like, are you taking care of both of our cars?
And are you taking care of the dishes?
Are you taking care of the dishes?
Are you taking care of the emotional?
I was going to say, are you taking care of like making sure that like our relationship stays connected? Because I also see that fall on women all the time.
Well, that is the emotional labor that is women's responsibilities.
Absolutely.
Because if you think about even the way they sell it, where it's like, oh, men, just take her out for Valentine's Day. Or like the way that it's sold is that like it is this difficult thing to please women. Yeah. And what that does is that allows men to be like, this is too hard, I'm not doing it.
Absolutely.
Or to be like, hey, I bought you flowers this week. Therefore, I don't have to like connect on an emotional level.
Oh,
I took you to dinner. I took you on a date. What else do you want?
The movie does a really great job encompassing all of that as well, where you can see where her husband is like trying to step up to the plate by doing a million other things that don't include emotionally connecting to her.
Yeah, that don't include having a conversation.
He moves up in his job. He gets a better car. He redoes the bathroom. He like, I don't know, like organizes like, not even organizing a party, but like he like redoes the sink. He does a wallpaper. But like all of these things mean nothing when you're not actually making the active effort of connecting and playing with your partner and making memories. And like, you can tell where he's stuck as well because he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. And she also just doesn't have the words for it either.
No. And
like, it's so like, it's just such a brilliant movie. There's so many topics on like the like heterosexual relationship that they touched. They touched on motherhood. They touched on like the low sex drive, which like society says that men are supposed to have the higher sex drive. But how is it when you're in a committed relationship, women are the ones initiating most of the time? And then they're also the ones getting rejected most of the time.
Yes. But then if you bring up that rejection point, and again, this is a conversation I have a lot with my clients, and also Esther's covered this on her, like in her books and on her podcast, of this idea that like it's only through the patriarchal lens that we think of men as being more sexual, but statistically speaking, like not just like what you're saying, like anecdotally, but like statistically, we also know that women initiate sex more often. And then we are rejected because we initiate more often. But there's a perverse narrative that women can just get laid whenever.
Totally.
And that allows men to simultaneously control, because they get to control the sex life. They say, this is when I want it, which means you actually need to be ready whenever I want you to be ready. Because, or if you're not, I'm going to withdraw this thing and you don't know the next time you're going to get it. And again, this does tend to exist within even like, you know, non-heterosexual relationships, but ones in which play into that gendered like roles, is that you have an initiator and then you have someone who just is waiting for you to initiate.
Absolutely.
And it takes a certain level in which then women say, hey, I'm going to stop initiating. And I'm either going to, like in the movie where they're like alluding to this, like her having like fantasies and like wanting to be with somebody else, because she is not being met emotionally or physically by her partner. And I think that that's like one of those things that I really enjoyed, because we see this in like media so often. And I think that a lot of people believe that what they see in media is actually reality. So it's that, you know what? Perfect example of that is people take showers together in movies. Like it is the best thing in the entire world. Dude, and they're like, oh my God, it's wonderful. But if you've taken a shower with your partner, you know that like you want it to be great, but one of you is always fucking cold.
Totally.
And you most of the time enjoy two completely different temperatures. So either one person's freezing or one person's getting burned to death.
Yeah.
But in movies, it's always perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that we forget that because we consume this, because it is, media is propaganda in the sense that it continues to portray these like make believe like ideals of what relationships are to keep us pursuing that. It's like back to like what I was saying about like when I was younger, like being married was like one of the biggest things that I was like, that's what I want to accomplish. Which like when I think back, I'm like, fucking why? Like, again, you and I can't get married, but I see our relationship as one of the like biggest achievements of my life.
Yeah.
Because we actively every day, we do not share a piece of paper. With the way in which we've had to restructure the business currently, Absolutely. We don't even technically share a like business bank account. So like there is nothing except for us waking up every day and choosing to love the other person.
Absolutely.
And to be like in that together. Whereas like you don't have that. Like if you're married, you're like, I'm married. You know how difficult this would be to like separate everything. And if you have kids, then that adds that whole other factor. But you have been sold this false bill of goods that this is the biggest, most important thing. The same way that like the owning your own house, that happened like during my generation where it said, you can have it all. You can have a career and you can have a baby. You can own your own house and you can go on vacations.
Totally.
And again, you can have a husband and you can have a family and you can have everything. And there's literally just not enough energy to have everything. But part of why we were sold that was because if we told you you could have everything, you would then have to do everything.
Yeah, totally.
And that's the difference is it's like with, again, when it comes to like marriage for a man, he gains someone to help clean the house, help again with like all the daily tasks and manage his social calendar because very few men manage their own social calendars. And this is not like a I hate men podcast by any means before anyone's like, I'm feeling particularly attacked. Or like in the queer community that doesn't exist, I would still say, please look at your relationships and see where the larger narrative of like heterosexual movies and like patriarchal movies that have been put into you can also play into that.
Absolutely.
Like,
100%, 100,000%. And I think that's the thing is like, I'm really wary of people being like, well, you guys just like hate men, but like, you can't really have a conversation about like the dynamics unless you're honest about it. So also, if you're feeling attacked, then if it doesn't apply to you, then why are you applying yourself? Just saying. Maybe sit with that.
I also think it's like the easiest cop-out to be like, oh, you're just mad at men for this instead of like, no,
I'm mad at the system.
Yeah, I'm mad at the system. And I'm also mad. I'm mad at like what it had me believe. So how much work I had to put in. Totally. And I'm also mad at the loss of humanity that my husband got to have.
Yeah, 100%.
Where like because he was told that like to be an easy guy to just not make decisions, he learned to not make decisions when it came specifically only with our relationship, which I think is again as a like female like in the relationship in that dynamic, it can be incredibly frustrating because you're like, okay, so at work you're capable of making all these choices, you're capable of doing all these things, but at home you can't decide anything. And it's because, again, that pervasive and perverse idea that, like, a good guy, and I say that in quotations because there is no such thing as a good guy, very akin to, like, Robert Pattinson's, like, character, a good guy just goes along. Yeah. He's just there floating through life. Yep. He is not making decisions. He's leaving that to his wife because she will know best. And so, like, I watched my husband just, like, continue year after year, like, shrink as a human being as he continued to make less and less decisions. And now that he is, like, through that on the other side of it, I get to see him, like, be a whole person where he's, like, starting hobbies, but also is managing to do his fair share of the household labor and, like, take care of our animals. And also take care of our relationship. So he is not, and I do want to talk about that emotional labor.
Yeah,
about
absolutely.
like, because you said like they didn't have the context and language. And I think this is a good way for us to be able to like kind of help people that
break
are like,
down,
what the fuck is that language? But I have watched as he has deconstructed like, and as we in our marriage have deconstructed our like patriarchal roles, I have then watched him no longer like abide by those like bullshit rules and develop as a whole human being, which is like all I ever wanted as like his spouse, is to be like, I just want to see you be the happiest you can be. And it's like what you say all the time, where so many of the things he didn't do, like when I ask him like, okay, so what changed? Like now you do stuff and you initiate and you like plan things and you communicate, like what changed? And he said for him, it was that he was taught that his opinion didn't matter, like when it came to anything around the house or making decisions in our relationship. And not taught by me, but just like, he was like, yeah, that's women's work, essentially. Like women make those choices.
Right.
So my opinion doesn't matter because you're going to know what's best there. And then would just be like, or, you know, if I say something that contradicts with you, what if it like starts a fight? What if it starts anything bad? So in order to be a good guy, I'm just going to say I don't have opinions instead of sharing my opinions in case they might be controversial. And then in deciding to not share any opposite opinions, he also lost the ability to share like good opinions, to be like, oh, hey, I think that's a great idea. Because again, like Brene Brown says, when you close one window, it doesn't allow any good or bad in. So he closed that window of like communicating opinions to me. And really in any sort of relationship. So outside of like a career sense, all relationships, he was like, oh, I don't want anything bad. So I don't want to make people feel bad. I'm just going to shut that off. Yeah. And then lost the actual relationship building of A, disagreement is good. Yeah. But B, like praise.
Also, like praise is important. Disagreements are good. And having different opinions is really important for, again, like I think, we were talking about this a little bit before off camera, like having a partner where they are able to be themselves and like go off and do things for themselves, but then come home and choose you reinforces the fact that they choose you. So you could be doing, you know, all the different hobbies in the world, but like you're still coming in and like living your own life and having different opinions than me. It also helps build that trust of like, okay, so you do want this. You're not just saying that you want this because I said that I wanted it, you know? Yeah.
And I think it's about both partners doing that. Absolutely. I don't think it's about like one partner going out while the other person is sacrificing or the other person is doing more like emotional, mental, and physical labor.
Yes.
It comes down to like the goal of the relationship is that you go off, do your own things, and then you come back and you get to tell each other and learn through each other. And experience that together. And again, like you were saying, like those differences of opinions, because we talk about this a lot in our like just in our relationship about how even like this morning we got a content request form and I was like, hey, just to be clear, you don't like that kind of like style, right? And you're like, nope, not particularly, but you had been like a little bit like, oh, sorry, like no.
Yeah, like the way I say it, I was like, no.
Yeah. And we took like, I don't know, 2 minutes to dissect it, to be like, hey, like, why do you feel bad about that? And then also like, I don't want you to feel bad about that because for me, I love the fact that I get to do this. So it's even better. I just like to check in to make sure that I'm not taking stuff from you that you would prefer to tattoo. But also like it allows like those differences in our like what we enjoy, the differences in opinions of like movies and music opens us up when we want to learn more, but also allows us to like have more of the thing we like because we don't have to share it.
Yeah.
And so I think that like that's one of those big things with like the good guy thing, like mentality where it's like, hey, you're minimizing your own humanity and your relationship.
Absolutely. By shrinking yourself, you're making it harder to connect with you. By like, And I also think that like, there's this whole idea that like, you're a good guy if you don't hit your wife or girlfriend or whatever. And that's just not it anymore. I think we were talking about it this morning, you, me, and Caboose. And Caboose brought up the really good fact that like, there has been a rise of people realizing that like by just coasting by in a relationship, it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And women are standing up and saying, this isn't working.
Yeah.
Like you can't just coast through and expect me to be happy, or like you can't just not hit me and expect me to be so stoked to be with you. That is, the bar is in hell, right?
Yeah.
At that point. It's the idea of like, if you're in a relationship, then like, we need to actually connect. And if you don't know yourself, how are people supposed to connect with you?
Yeah, if you don't know what connection feels like.
Yeah, totally. And like, you know, no fault to you if you are listening to this and you're like, I don't. That's okay. The patriarchy most likely robbed that from you. And like this idea that like just being easy probably robbed that from you.
Yes.
You know, but it's up to you to find out. Because again, the more you shrink yourself, the less people are going to be able to actually reach out for you. It's impossible at that point.
Well, and then it also becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy because you shrink yourself because you're like, hey, I don't want to be controversial, so I don't want to like say something here. So then I will just convince myself that I don't care about this. And as you get less and less actual opinions, or you feel more like you cannot share those opinions, you also feel really lonely because you're not making connections with people.
Totally.
And again, if you're not sharing your opinions, you're also not able to like genuinely tell them you like their opinions.
Yeah.
Because people learn to not trust your like yeses, so they don't trust your no's. They're like, I don't trust any of that. You just always agree with me.
Yep.
But also, as you feel like lonely, and you're constantly pulling back anytime people ask you, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of like, dude, unless you like tell me what you do and don't like, or unless you like have countering differences in me that we can build connection on, you just keep pulling further away and then being like, oh no, see, this is why I can't just agree with anyone because I'm like all here by myself and no one's going to understand.
Totally. Absolutely.
And like, that's one of the things that I noticed like in so many like men that happens to, where it's like, yeah, you just keep pulling back until you're all by yourself. And then the other thing that this is a slight sidebar. But we've been talking, obviously, before this episode, we've been talking a ton about the patriarchy within the house. And I had a, like, I don't know, really big, like, personal realization of, like, a lot of the stuff that I've read was able to kind of sink in about how, and this, if you are heavy in the patriarchy, you're going to be like, yes, Diva, that's basically what the fucking patriarchy is. But how this, like, applies even throughout, like, our daily lives. So the patriarchy exists for the comfort of men. And that is all men, but mostly the men on top. And so we ourselves have been taught, yes, to be like of service is what is good. And it's what makes us feel special because that is ideal to comfort men.
Totally.
But men also, in particular, the ones that identify with the good guy, like narrative and like self-identification, do not want to cause discomfort to other men. So
oh my God,
they will not raise up, like, they will not counter another man, like, raise an like differing opinion. It's okay if it's like sports and stuff that they have like agreed upon arenas to say, hey, we've all agreed upon this, that like this is where we hold our rivalries, but they are safe rivalries. But when it comes to like calling out like
behaviors.
Yeah, a behavior, a misogynistic comment, calling out like relationship dynamics. Even
or
just
thought
like
process is like I've people thinking that like, oh well, like she shouldn't do this because X, Y, and Z, and you're not gonna call that out.
Yeah.
Like
or
what?
hearing somebody comment on someone else's clothes, like, I can't believe she would wear that. That's really slutty.
Totally.
And not calling them out. And I've been asking a couple guy friends as well as Caboose, when he'll be like, oh, I didn't say anything about that. And I'm like, why? Is it because you did not want to make that man uncomfortable? And like, the more they sit with it, the more they're like, oh yeah, I can see that. It was actually really funny because I asked Caboose that. I was like, so did you not say anything in that moment? Because like you were worried it would make him uncomfortable? And he was like, no, I don't think that's it. And then he sat there because I was like, okay, so what is it? And he sat there for like 10 seconds or so and then started laughing. He's like, oh no, that's for sure it. And so in that situation,
so it's okay to take a pause and then go back on things.
100%. Yeah. It was hilarious. Because once he was like, oh no, that resonated. That's it.
I didn't think it was, but turns out.
Like what we realized was that in those moments, because men are also not taught like throughout the patriarchy to see women as like, you know, whole beings with like complex worlds living inside of them. So it's really easy to prioritize the comfort of another man because that's who they've been taught to prioritize.
Totally.
And so it's the same way that it's like easy for women to give themselves over to men to prioritize them. We have been taught the same thing they've taught. And so it was a big like realization for me of like, oh no, men are also just doing things for the comfort of other men. Totally. So like they don't, like an example that I had earlier this week was talking to one of my clients about like not starting a relationship with another guy because he was like, it's just so hard because we don't talk about deep stuff. So how am I like supposed to like get to know him if I can't even ask him questions? And I was like, why can't you ask him questions? And he's like, well, I don't want to make him uncomfortable. It's like, so again, you're not pursuing this because there's a chance that when you ask him something, he might feel uncomfortable for 2 seconds, but you know that like he will benefit from this conversation.
Yeah. And you're also like, by having these smaller conversations, you are able to help so many women and you don't even know it. You have no idea. Yeah. Because like at the end of the day, men are more inclined to listen to other men. And at the end of the day, men are more likely to write us off for just being man haters.
Yes.
than they are to like actually take a second and say, wait a second, so-and-so said this. This might actually be true. So.
And I do want to say something really fast before, because I do want that emotional side from you.
Absolutely.
But I do want to say the reason that they're going to like, when you hear the term man haters, it's because it's designed to say men against women. Like it's just, it's one of those situations where it's women or people.
Yep.
So I guess I should just say people. People calling out the patriarchal structure, and then the structure itself, in order to like self-sustain, has to say, oh, hey, they hate this team.
Yep.
Whereas like when you understand that like men and women, and of course all genders, are harmed by the patriarchy. But if we just say, hey, we're going to teach these like young men to then hate women because they hate you.
Yep.
It teaches them to continue the structure of the patriarchy. So they can just say, oh, you just hate men, instead of having to listen and be like, wait, this structure is damaging.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I just wanted to clarify that it's like, you don't actually think women hate men. You've just been taught that women hate men, so you don't have to question
your actions or
and the structures that you live within and how that may benefit people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
what was the emotional thing?
The emotional labor that women have to carry in a relationship. Yeah. And how to, because we were talking about like how we don't have the same language. And so like oftentimes like how in that movie specific, both of them were like, okay, she wanted validation and he wanted to like take care of her and like be able to make her feel like, I guess he wanted to make her feel better is the easiest way to put that. But they didn't know how to speak the same language. They were on like two completely worlds. So like, how do you, like if you were to be like, hey, this is what could help their relationship or relationships on a whole?
Well, I mean, besides going to couples therapy, I think getting...
assuming you end up with a good couples therapist.
True. Is still a caveat. Because there's plenty of sexist couples therapists out there.
You can't go to a couples therapist.
Yeah. I think that...
You're stuck in this dynamic. You're not happy.
You're not happy.
Yeah.
Figure out, like, what emotional labor is and what mental labor is. I think is the beginning steps of that. Because a lot of people hear it and they're like, what does that even fucking mean? And when I talk about emotional labor, I talk about the emotional labor of perceiving, okay, if I have this conversation about what's bothering me, how do I have it in the sense that, like, it won't trigger any defensiveness? How do I have it in the sense that it's approached with love and patience? And even though I am, like, absurdly hurting over this, and I've been thinking about it for a week now, and, like, I am, like, damn near to tears thinking about it every time, how can I approach with a less emotional reaction and more of, like, hey, I'm holding space. This is how it is.
Yep.
That's emotional labor.
I think also being aware of like what can potentially trigger your partner.
Yes.
To make sure that like you are like essentially trying to like not hit those wounds as much as possible.
And not making them like emotional labor is making sure, okay, I'm going to have this conversation about how this person unintentionally hurt my feelings. How do I make sure that I let them know that I don't think that they're a bad person while also still standing up for myself and being honest about my feelings.
Yeah.
And that's emotional labor.
Yeah.
Mental labor would be like making decisions, plans. So it would be like, okay, we're going to go here. Okay, great. What time? When should I be ready by?
Also,
how long are we staying? Like,
Yeah, what do I need to wear?
Yes.
What kind of vibe is it going to be like?
Do I need
what
to bring
happens
something?
if we need to pivot, if it's closed, or if it's like, in my case, if it's like too crowded, if it's too loud, if you get in there and then you're like, oh no, this doesn't work, then like, what are the backup plans? Like having the ability to pivot and be like, hey, I can adjust, and not having it go like that, holding that as mental labor. But then, like, in a relationship, not having to be like, oh, I made one decision, so you need to make all the rest.
Absolutely. I think once you got those two concepts down, then you're able to sit down and be actually honest with yourself and your partner who does what in terms of emotional labor. Maybe writing down lists of, like, how do you feel like you're holding emotional labor? How do I feel like I'm holding emotional labor?
Yes.
How do you feel like you're holding mental labor? How do I feel like I've been holding mental labor? Comparing and contrasting the list to see if this thing is valid or if it's just not nearly up to par as it needs to be. Because you can think that you're holding enough emotional space, but then realize like, oh, or like mental labor, but then realize that like, oh shit, I suggested this, but I didn't actually tell you what time. I didn't actually tell you what the plan was. I didn't actually like tell you all those things. That's part of making a decision, is like the follow through. And that'll be a lot more honest. And also like, yes, it's going to be a hurtful conversation, and like, you might get a little like, distressed, but you have to remember that like, we're doing this as a team. We're attacking the problem. We're not attacking each other in that sense. Yes. So I feel like that's the best advice I could give.
That was good.
Yeah. How about you?
That's it. Yeah. That was so good.
Long story short, you guys need to watch the movie. I would love to see what everyone's like takeaways are, because there's so many subtle moments in that movie too. I shouldn't say it's subtle. It's not subtle to us, but there's moments where she like explicitly says something and then he just walks away.
Yep.
What is it with that? Why does that happen? It's insane. It's again that emotional absence of like, I'm trying to ask for reassurance that I'm still a good mom, even though I didn't bake a cake. And he just gets up, walks away, and asks her if she wants another beer.
Well, and I will say, having that happen, like, in my marriage a lot, those early years, or I would really say, like, the first decade, I'm able to, because now Caboose and I are in, like, a really good place that we're able to talk about that. To be like, neither one of us were, like, stellar. We were both very much in that system. And for him, like, when I brought up the fact that I was like, you would just like leave, like I would be in the middle of talking, you would just leave the room. And he's like, yeah, if I didn't know what to do in that situation, I just remove myself from that situation. And again, that is the like men protecting men. That is him protecting himself in that situation. And that's where like the emotional labor comes in, is to be like, oh, but like, and again, some self-reflection of like, why couldn't you just be like, hey, I'm here with you. I don't know what to say here. Like, I don't know what to say in this moment. So, just know that I'm here. And if there is like, if you know how I can help you, please let me know. I'm not trying to put that wholly on you, but I just don't know what to do in this moment. Like, that's okay. But it's the like, oh, you felt uncomfortable, so you just left.
Totally.
Is, I think, like one of the things that I see so much, where it's like, okay, and even if you're not physically leaving, just leaving someone like silence, that's what that is. Totally. You've just vacated the conversation. And the same thing as if you switch the conversation. So like where he got up, left, and was like, do you want another beer? And like one of the other times in which they like showed it, which I did appreciate they showed it more than once.
Yeah.
Because
me too, because it happens frequently.
Yes. I have this conversation with my like clients a lot where like this just happens, because one of my favorite questions, I promise we're almost wrapping up. One of my favorite questions to ask people is like, when they've got divorced, is like, what happened? And the narrative is pretty much the same the entire, like every time, like it just repeats, where more often than not, men will tell me they don't know what happened, which just tells me you were not an active part of your relationship, because that's like saying your business that you own closed, and then you saying you don't know what happened. I would not say that you're an active business member, like business partner. I wouldn't say that you're a very good manager if you're like, I have no idea. One day I just came in and they're like, hey, y'all are closed.
Yep.
That's a little bit crazy to me. Like, as someone who's like, you know, my fucking fingers are in like every pot of our company 100%. And yours are too. Like,
well, I'm like, how would you not know? You're clearly either not telling me something, so you either majorly fucked up, or you just didn't care.
Yeah. And then with women, when I ask, they talk about how like they just grew apart, which again happens in that not, you know, expressing yourself to your partner and not connecting with them. And before we do wrap up, I do want to do a quick thing on like what connection looks like to people. Because I think there is a big misnomer around what that looks like.
Yes.
So it is really like understanding that, but like for women, I mean, before I sidetrack my fucking self here, for women, it would be they grew apart or she just got tired of being his mother. Because she's doing all the decisions. She's doing all the labor around the house.
Yes.
She is the person facilitating their sex life. They're like going on dates life, like all of that. And so she just said, fuck it. It's easier single. And so many of the like women I meet are so much happier just having flings, just having these shorter relationships because they are no longer taking on the emotional labor, like full time of a man.
Yeah. 100%.
So, yeah. So I think that's why like podcasts like this matter. But I do want to spend like 2 minutes. I know we have to go because we're going out this afternoon. But I do want to spend 2 minutes and ask you what connection feels like for you. Because I think a lot of people think it just means sitting in the same room.
Oh my God.
And just being in presence with their partners.
Yes.
Because let me say this really fast. If you've been in a relationship for a really long time, it's really easy to just get in the monotonous where all of the conversations you have are about the kids, the house, your job.
What you're doing that day. Or
you're just sitting on the couch.
Yep.
That's it. Like you're watching TV or you're both scrolling on your phone. And then you're like, dude, I just don't feel connected in this relationship.
Yes.
And that's something that like Caboose and I have worked on. And thank God, like, crushing, doing great.
Yep.
We're both like but it's because we had this discussion. So I want to throw it to you and tell me what connection feels like to you.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, connection feels different to everybody. So my way is not the highway. I will let you know that like it's okay if your version is different than mine. It happens a lot. For me, connection is moving with intention, and it's intention. It's not like we're doing separate things all the time. I love parallel play, but when it gets to a point where it's like we're not even like I don't even like leave recharged, that's where it's like, okay, this is not like a recharging thing for me.
What's the difference? What do you think? Like, why is it that sometimes it's recharging and other times you're like, why am I even here?
I think for me it's the talking, the interacting. It's interaction. It's like getting to know me, the feeling of like actually being known, you know, or like the feeling of like curiosity from your partner, and also the feeling of play with your partner. And like parallel play should be like play. We should be like having a silly, goofy time. It shouldn't be just us sitting in silence in the same room. That's absolutely connection for me.
That's connection for you?
Yes.
Nice.
How about you?
I think what you were saying, to build a little bit off of that, because part of why we're as close as we are is, because you had to pee.
Sorry.
Okay. So to build off of that, it's that for me, it is that intentionality in conversation and the forever getting to know like what's going on. Because like one of my favorite things is hearing about like people's viewpoints that are different than mine. Hearing how like Caboose and I both went to dinner, but what was this experience like from his perspective? To like see what he sees, for him to like point out different things in that restaurant that I otherwise would not notice. And then also having the joy of that like commonality of like when it's like, oh, hey, I noticed that too. Or like, yeah, I noticed that like couple over there were like having a pretty serious discussion. Or like, again, us having differing where I'm like, oh, I don't think that's how that went for me. Like, but like, how did that go for you? Like, what do you think? And the other thing that's really important to me to like feel connected is it's about making memories. So when you're just sitting on the couch, that's how the years go by so fast. That's how you end up being like, I don't know where the fuck my life went. It's partly why when kids are young, and you're having to surrender so much of yourself to them. And to be fair, you do that for a real fucking long time. But it's how those years feel like they went by so quickly was because you were in a place in which like the routine and the monotony of the whole thing takes over. You're also, for the most part, horribly sleep deprived. But really being intentional about making memories. So like Callie and I do this even in our friendship where like we will get into a place where we've just like worked a bunch and we'll feel kind of disconnected. And then we're like, okay, we need to go do something. And that can be like, we are going to have a night where we are just going to dance around the living room, or we're going to have like an ice cream date, or we're going to like go and do like a really particularly, we tend to do this only with like really particularly hard workouts. So that way we have this like cornerstone memory that we can come back to.
Yes. 100%.
Because for me, my relationships that are meaningful are those where I get to put in and be like, hey, we have all these memories, because that's all that like when we look back in our life, we're not going to be like, you know what? I wish I spent more nights just watching TV. Or I wish that like we had not taken the time to just really sit and get to know each other. Like, it is about that intentionality.
Yeah, absolutely. And also shared interests. It's really hard when like, gosh, you sent a Will Hitchens video that made me cry this morning.
Oh, with Ben Carpenter making his wife the birthday cake? Yeah.
Yes, and it's about like him actively pursuing hobbies that she likes to do to show her that he loves her. And I think that's also one of those things where it's like, I'm not like particularly interested in some aspects of like stuff that you like to do, but because I love you, I'll get interested. Yeah. Like I'm like, damn, I wouldn't have thought that I would have wanted to know how the fucking Niagara Falls was built, or like
how they like, turned it off to like check the fucking rubble.
Dude, exactly.
Built an entire dam to turn it off.
I would not have seek that out myself, but because like I love you and you're seeking it out, I'm also interested in that. And it's not just because you're doing it. It's because like, yes, my entry point is you, but that's part of loving someone is like also getting excited with them. And that's another way you can connect is like pursuing things that like make them feel loved as well. Not just how you want to show them that you love them, which could just be like cuddling, which is fine. But like some people need a little bit more. And I'm one of those people.
Oh, 100%.
I need a lot more than that, so.
Yeah. I think that was great.
Thank you.
That's a beautiful, like, ending.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Questions.
Yes.
What are you proud of today?
I am proud that I am holding myself accountable to go to Gourmet in the Gardens. Then we have, like a play date with friends. Yes, I say play date because I want it to sound like I'm a child. Because this is the year that I play.
Period.
So yeah, and it's really easy for me to be like, oh, I have stuff I have to do, and to just slip into work because that's my like escapism. But instead, I'm being intentional about going to play and have a silly goose good time. So I'm proud of myself for doing that.
Period. I'm very proud of you as well. I'm proud of myself for going on a bathroom break. I tried to hold it, couldn't, and I said, that's fine.
I don't know why. We're going to unpack that on a future podcast. Why you just can't get up and leave.
I don't know. Or just like,
your teachers beat you when you were little.
I think it is part of the teacher thing, but also I get really enamored by our conversations.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like that magnet thing. Like I want to stay in as long as possible, and then I'm like, God damn it, I have to go.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
What's your win for the week?
My win for the week is wearing my splint. Yeah.
Hold it up again.
My Barbie hand splint that makes me look like I have a Barbie hand.
You got perma Barbie hand.
Yeah. And I don't know how long it will be on. It's recommended, but it's only if it's like surgery for 6 weeks. And this is a pretty severe tear, but not a full disconnection. So that's pretty exciting. So I'm going to wear it until my hand feels better. But it's nice because I can like put it on and wear it, and then I'm still able to like take time to tattoo.
Absolutely.
So, but my grip is kind of fucked. So like I can't really wash dishes. Like it's kind of like sketchy on like what I can do. So.
Yeah, just don't push it. I'm very proud of you for wearing this one. I know that's hard, but at least it's Barbie and it's pink.
It is,
and it's cute.
I did have to get the pink. Well, technically this is just from work, but like I have the pink wrap on it, so that way at least I don't feel so like ugly.
Yeah, exactly. We gotta bedazzle it at some point.
You're so funny.
A win for the week for me would be, man. I accomplished a lot of things.
So many things. You had an insane week.
Y'all, visa stuff is crazy. When you do it a lot, I'm starting to understand why people pay $5,000 to do it, but I'm really fucking stubborn. I'm like, no. I have friends who have done it by themselves, but now I'm really starting to understand why. It's just time-consuming work. Yep. All it is bureaucratic paperwork stuff, but even then, like, it's a lot for my poor little ADHD brain. But I did accomplish a lot, and I'm proud of that. So that's my win for the week, is accomplishing a lot for my visa. So there you go.
That's amazing. Okay, so if you're still here, thanks so much. We love you, and we're glad that you either liked listening to this enough to finish, and you're like, hell yeah, that was a great episode, or you're like, motherfucker, that sucked. It's okay. We're not everyone's cup of tea. But if you do like us, then please, like, I don't know, what are you supposed to say? Like, subscribe. Share this with your friends. Absolutely. If you know someone that you want to listen to this, or if you know someone that liked that movie as well. If not, go watch Die My Love. It is so good. And tell us how you liked it. So, bye!
Bye-bye!
Artlist.io